2019 has been a, well, weird year so far, to say the least, but one undoubtedly good thing about it has been the full embracing of solo gameplay. There are so many clever, interesting, and satisfying solo modes that are coming out for some of the top games these days, and so whether you are holding up against the outside world because, well, 2019, or just looking for a satisfying way of staying at home and having a night to yourself, well, here are 3 more great games that can be played solo, all from 2019. So first up, we have Cartographers, which on its own is just such a great roll and write, or flip and write game that happens to be in the role player universe. Wow, that was a lot to contend with. But this game has you building fantasy maps, which already is such a wonderful theme, but you're doing it on a grid that's almost like Sudoku-ish. Hear me out. So you have all these things where you're trying to make it arrange in order to score the points given each of the different rounds. It is a really clever, really straightforward, and fun game that taps into a lot of creative muscles because you're getting to draw as you're doing it, or just making little abstractions if you don't like drawing. But what makes it such a powerful solo experience is, 1, how small it is. It is very portable, and 2, it is very easy to play, and 3, this game is almost exactly the same multiplayer as it is single player, with the exception that there is a really clever player interaction moment when monster cards come up, in which you would normally have to trade your sheet to an opponent. They'd add the monsters in a configuration onto your board. Well, since you don't have an opponent to do that, each of the monster cards, which would come up as normal, have a little indicator of where you're going to end up trying to put that into your map, and the soonest spot that you find that will be able to accommodate those nasty monsters, you're going to put it in there. That's it. That is the only change. The only other thing, I guess, is that you're playing against a potential score rather than trying to beat all of your opponents. It is fast, it is portable, it is easy, and it is meditative. This is like the modern hobby equivalent to, I don't know, I guess crossword puzzles or Sudoku. It's really good. Now, Tiny Towns. Tiny Towns is the classic solo mode where you're trying to get the most points using the frame of the system, kind of like Cartographers. But unlike Cartographers, it dramatically changes up the mechanism through which you are developing your town, giving you just a little bit more control than you would ever have in the single player mode. So normally in Tiny Towns, each player is calling out a resource type in which everyone has to add to their town. It's clever, it's highly interactive, and it's fun. Now, in the single player mode, you instead use these cards, which can be also used in multiplayer for a variant. But here, we're talking about solo. Ignore that whole town hall variant. No, in this mode, you reveal 3 cards, which will have the resources on them, and there's several repeating resources, and you have to decide among those 3 cards which one you're going to add a resource to your village, and then you just put that, bam, on the bottom of the deck, and then flip a new card, and that is the whole system with which you are going to be adding things to your town. It makes it so much more of a puzzle than it initially was, and it gives it a little bit more of a strategic versus tactical twist, which I love. And this is one of my favorite examples from this year of a solo mode that changes the nature slightly of how you play while keeping it still the fundamental game in order to deliver a meaningful experience that is worth playing solo all on its own. Now, third up, because we're doing 3 of these things, is Wingspan. Now, Wingspan is such a beautiful game, and it's got all these great pieces. It's something that invites you in. You want to interact with this game. And the solo experience is so much more complex than the other 2 games that I've listed here. But at the same time, it is by far the most elegant solo mode gameplay that I think I've ever played. It just so fluidly imitates the experience of playing against an opponent, a real life opponent, opponent, but the automa is merely a facade. It's a shadow of what an opponent would do. See, it interacts with the board by taking up cards and competing with you on the end round, scoring goals. Sometimes it'll take individual cards, sometimes it'll clear the whole thing, and it has the ability to trigger your pink bird powers, all driven by a simple flip of a card every turn that is very, very easy to manage. Meanwhile, you, as a player, you play exactly the same way. Sure, there might be like a slightly different consideration as you become more attuned to the automa of the game, but you end up feeling like, man, I'm building my engine in the exact same way that I would against a multiplayer opponent. And to give that breadth of an experience in a solo mode that is that easy to maintain is such a beautiful thing. Oh yeah, one more thing, it has the Automoban Society card, which if that isn't the best portmanteau that you've heard recently, then I don't even know what we're doing here. All right, that's it. 3 great games, all from 2019 that you can play solo and are worth checking out, even if that's the only thing you ever intend to do with them. Though I think they're all pretty fun if you play multiplayer too. But that is a different show. So let us know what you think. I know people who play solo games are pretty opinionated. Well, I guess people who play board games in general are pretty opinionated. So if you disagree with our picks, if you think there are 3 more great solo games that you think should be highlighted, should be recommended, are great starting points for people who have never played solo games before, let us know in the comments below. And that is going to be our show today. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald. If you enjoyed this video, we have all kinds of other reviews, interviews, and recommendations via writing, podcasts, and video here on our channel and website cardboardherald.com. Our content is audience supported, so if you want to show your support, please visit our Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Cardboard Herald.